BoTube! I know that this particular episode premiered last week, but I got lazy, and so I did not record. So this is Legends of Tomorrow, Season 2, Episode 6, titled Outlaw Country. I'm so sorry. I'm kind of laughing at the fact that I actually admitted out loud that I was freaking lazy to record. But, I bet you other YouTubers, especially like pro ones out there, they will admit at one point in time that they did not record because they got lazy. I bet you at least once, every single popular YouTuber out there in the world, at least once in their entire YouTube careers, did not upload, record, or any of that for YouTube because they got lazy. I bet you there's at least one moment. Just saying. But anyway, Outlaw Country, apparently the team finds out there's an aberration in Colorado, 1874. And you know what that means? The country, the Wild West, yay! And I should not do that because it looks gross. But anyway, if you remember, 1874 is where the timeline of Jonah Hex. So we get to see Jonah Hex again, which is really freaking cool. And yes, that's Dory. If you're wondering. I bet you someone's like, what is that? Because apparently in one of my videos, I forgot which one, apparently someone left a comment on one of my videos mentioning this right here, all that. And they're like, WTF, do you have an armory back there or something? And it's not an armory. I do have multiple swords. There's a sword on this side. Hang on. That one right there, it looks like a pole, but it's actually a sword. You open it, and it's two swords, and then you connect it on the bottom of each of the sword. It's like a connection, and it becomes like a long-looking double-edged sword thing, which is pretty cool. I got that on birthday. That is actually a katana my boyfriend got me. Also, I think Christmas or my birthday. That Smosh Podge right there, that is consisting of a junior bow, a junior recurve, not really recurve, a junior bow. There's a crossbow there. It doesn't have a string, my crossbow. That I have no string on that whatsoever. I need to get a string. And then behind both of those, that long piece like right there, that's a legitimate recurve bow. I do have the string, but I took off the string because my mom was like, no! And then I have other swords like behind my camera. If I was able to, swap it to the outer camera, you could actually see my first sword, which is God, it's not a tanto. Wait, is it? No, it's in the smallest one is a tanto and the biggest one is a katana. It's like the medium one. I don't know the name of it. But I do have two tantos. I hid them in my closet. One of them's supposed to be here, but the bottom part of my stand kind of broke off. So, but anyway, going off topic. Yeah, I wanted to mention that mainly because I'm not surprised someone's going to point this out at one point because someone pointed this out during my video. But anyway, going back to it, they arrive at Colorado, 1874, and they find Jonah Hex. He's like surrounded by a bunch of bad guy cowboys, and apparently he's gonna be hanged because they have a noose around him and they're all teasing and tormenting him and stuff, right? And of course they save him, and he reveals that he's fighting an outlaw boss by the name of Quentin Turnboyle. I forgot to look him up. The name doesn't sound familiar except for the name Quentin, right? I mean, Quentin Lance. But anyway, I forgot to look up Quentin Turnboyle. I'm not gonna really go into it now because too tired. But anyway, Nate, since he's a historian, he hears the name, he's like, oh my god, that guy? Apparently, Turnboyle, according to Nate, is the person who pretty much leads Western U.S. into a succession to form the Turnboyle the country. So apparently, the aberration, as I remember it, I forgot to mention before the team finds out about the aberration, we see, I want to say, a time pirate, and he's looking for something, right? And Turnboyle, I think he had other people with him, but manages to find this time pirate, and it looked like this time pirate was able to strike a deal with Turnboil, but went kind of sour because Turnboil ends up shooting him and killing him and taking his little searching device thing. And because of that, which that happened to be the aberration, because of that, everything went amok for the western U.S. and it turned into Turnbull country. Basically, what happened, and it's a lot of mess with the timeline. This happens, not mumbo jumbo. I don't really want to get too much into it, but yeah, that's the aberration they found in Colorado, 1874, and of course they asked, to help Jonah with all this stuff to make things right in the western U.S. And apparently the team also learns that thing that the time pirate was looking for, that now Turnboil has found himself with that little searching device, it turns out to be Dwarf Star, which according to Ray Palmer, he used Dwarf Star for his Atom suit. Basically, his Atom suit was made by, I don't know, but it's like a main ingredient for his Atom suit, which is completely freaking perfect, because as we all know, in Japan, Nate destroyed the Atom suit, and let's just say Ray hasn't had a good moment training to be like Captain Cold with the cold gun. So he needs his Atom suit. He kind of needs it bad. I know that at one point I said he doesn't need the suit because he's a hero all on his own. Got the mind, the heart, and everything. And he doesn't need a suit to prove otherwise, You don't need a super suit to be a hero. But I guess apparently in this show Ray needs one because they add Dwarf Star here, which is one of the main ingredients for the Atom suit. So okay, fine, you're gonna give back a suit, okay. But anyway, apparently Turnboil's planning to use the Dwarf Star to destroy a critical railway that pretty much connects eastern U.S. to the western of U.S. Right? And apparently, if he destroys that railway that connects west and east, it pretty much stops the U.S. Army from marching toward the west. And I don't remember specifically why I think the Army was heading toward there to help out for the western U.S., but I don't remember the specific reason. I want to say it's at least 70% thinking that I think the U.S. is coming from the east to go to the west to pretty much help out with that Turnbull situation. And Turnbull doesn't want that happening, so he's planning to, destroy the railway connecting east and west, right? But anyway, Sarah and Jonah decide to go engage against Turnbull, and Mick and Amaya were sent to destroy the mine, while Nate and Jax, I think it was Nate, Jax, and Ray. They decide they have to at least stop the train that had a bunch of Dwarf Star on it, because Turnbull, how he wants to destroy the railway is to put a bunch of Dwarf Star on it, I think, and on the train, make it go on the rail and pretty much kaboom it there, right? I think. I'm not sure. But, in order to stop the train, Nate proposes that he uses his powers to stop the train, because he's a giant metal man, right? And of course, Jax and, Ray are against it because they believe he's going to get some serious hurt, because early in the episode he did get shot by a Dwarf Star bullet that Turnbull had in his gun, and he almost didn't make it. So they were kind of hesitant because Nate is still recovering from that Dwarf Star bullet, and two, they're not sure if his powers, were enough. They never tested his powers when it came to a head-on collision with a train, right? So they're kind of skeptic if it was actually going to work, right? But he actually proves successful because Nate manages to use his powers to stop the train. Mick and Amaya manage to destroy the mine. And back with Sarah and Jonah, while they're engaging against Turnbull, Jonah actually, instead of killing Turnbull, decides to be a better person and not kill him, but deliver him to the authorities. Because I think it had something to do with what Sarah said, because Sarah's like, I got my own Turnbull, and she's talking about Damien Dark. She's on her revenge killing, stuff like that, and Jonah Hex is kind of the same way when it comes to Turnbull. And they have that bonding moment between that, and because of what Sarah said, Jonah decides, instead of killing Turnbull, and going down that really dark path, might as well go in the path of good and just turn him into the authorities, which I think is a really good thing, you know. We don't want Jonah Hex going down that bad, murderous path, you know what I mean? Revenge is not really the answer. You know what I mean? It's like, I know, I forgot the main story, but Turnbull did really bad wrong to Jonah, which led to the deaths of a lot of women and children. And apparently I think Jonah was a survivor of that incident, but he didn't get away unscathed. He had that giant scar, right? And Jonah's been he's been on a hunt for him, just like Sarah's been on a hunt for Damien Dark for killing Laurel, right? And it's good to know that at least one of them right now decided to not go down the dark path of killing like that. And I really am glad that Sarah managed to convince Jonah otherwise. And I really hope that seeing her convincing Jonah to stop the killing, maybe Sarah herself won't do it either, because, you know, I really don't want Sarah to go that dark path. I know she was trained as an assassin, but I really don't want her to be going down that dark path. It's just really depressing. But anyway, Ray managed to salvage a good chunk of the Dwarf Star, and because of that, he's planning to rebuild his suit with it. So yay, we're gonna get the Atom suit back, you guys. And as Ray's talking to Nate about, you know, his plans on recreating his suit, earlier in the episode, Ray actually saw a sketch that Nate made of a superhero suit that Nate wanted for himself. And I thought it was really cute, because it's like every typical little boy's dream. Not even little boy, like every little kid's dream if you want to be a superhero. It's like, you want to plan out what your powers will be, and then maybe you'll have like a super suit, you know what I mean? There are some kids out there, not just boys, that even girls, there are kids out there, even adults who want to be a superhero. Sometimes they imagine themselves being like a superhero, like Batman or Superman, and their own super suit. And that's basically what Nate was doing in the beginning of this episode. And Ray saw the sketch, and while he's talking to Nate, telling him, you know, I plan on rebuilding my suit, I have a surprise for you, Nate. And he pretty much shows that he actually made Nate's suit. And I thought that was a really cute little gesture that he made. I was like, aw, Ray and Nate bromance, yo. Yes. But anyway, we have another bonding moment which is a surprising bonding moment between Amaya and Mick, where Amaya notices that Mick tends to lose his anger, and she knows what it's like about beasts and anger and stuff, and Amaya, she volunteers to pretty much teach Mick how to control his anger, which I thought was a really interesting bonding experience. I thought maybe they'd be on a friendly term, but I didn't think they'd be like that much friendly terms, you know what I mean? It's really interesting. But also, another thing that happened this episode, Martin was having flashes of a woman he's never seen before, and he's actually talked to Jax about it, and they find out that because Martin had an interaction with his past self, there's a possibility that the woman in his dreams might be a new wife. So, we have a problem. Because Martin has interacted with his past self one too many times, he might have accidentally changed his wife. And so, I really liked his wife. I really like his wife, so I don't want that to be real. I really don't. But it's the clues and the hints of Martin getting those flashes and stuff like that, it might have just happened. But anyway, while that's being discussed, Sarah comes in and tells them, yeah, you guys all ready? Because our friends back at 2016 need our help. And that actually leads on to the four show crossover, which I cannot wait for. But anyway, there's not much going on in this episode. It was a really like mellow episode, but I liked it all the same because I love Jonah Hex. And the ending pretty much spawned off to, you know, the 4-show crossover, so I cannot wait for that. And, well, congratulations, Ray. You have Dwarf Star to make your Atom suit, and I really like the little bromance between him and Nate, because he made Nate a suit, which I thought was cute. A very surprising bonding moment between Amaya and Mick. But anyway, this is my reaction rant to Legends of Tomorrow, Season 2, Episode 6, titled Outlaw Country. Peace, BooTube.